Hi everybody. Thank you so much for joining this week's YouTube yoga session. This week I'm going to be forwarding all of your donations, 100% of the donations that I receive, to the Loveland Foundation, which is a foundation in the United States that provides therapy for Black women and girls. So I really appreciate your donations as always. If you feel that it's comfortable at appropriate time to send a little bit of money my way, I will be sure to forward it along. All of the information on how to donate, dollars and euros, are underneath the video. I'll also provide a link to the foundation that I've chosen this week. Again, thank you for joining. We're going to dive right in. So you can start sitting comfortably. Ideally, in a cross-legged position. If you find that this is not working for you for whatever reason, feel free to either use the support of props, so you can sit up onto a block or a book, or place something underneath your knees, alternatively choosing a completely different seat that works for your body. We're going to start today with the palms facing up, so that the back of the hands are resting on the thighs or knees, wherever they fall comfortably. And right away, beginning with eyes closed. So taking the first few moments to meet yourself wherever it is that you are right now. There's a whole lot happening in the world at the moment. And I find that these first few moments of the yoga practice can be a really important time to acknowledge where you are, physically, emotionally, mentally, so that you know where you're beginning, you know where you're working from. So it's not that we're trying to deny or pretend that anything isn't happening or isn't existing around us. In fact, the contrary. Recognizing and feeling everything it is that you're feeling, and giving yourself an opportunity to process by letting any other noise get canceled out. So by that I mean literal noise, sounds around you, but also the kind of constant fluctuations of the mind, the feelings of anxiety, the kind of oscillating between various feelings that I, and probably many of you, are experiencing. So I invite you for this next hour or so to really take the time to be good to yourself, to listen to what you need, to take breaks whenever you need them. As I was reminded by a teacher yesterday, how we are on the mat is how we are off the mat. It's kind of a cliche little catchy phrase, but I do believe that we can cultivate certain approaches when in a yoga practice that we can use with us in our daily life. So with the eyes closed, inviting the breath to begin to deepen. So we're not working with sort of our everyday breathing, but finding a breath that's a little bit more conscious, a little more aware than just that natural breathing pattern. So for you, it might mean you take a little bit more air into the body and let a little more air out of the body. And we'll continue this way for a few minutes so that the focus is really on softening internally, externally, softening the thoughts, softening your expectation of yourself. This is really important, that you're being gentle with yourself and breathing even further, even deeper, awakening these crevices, these areas of the body that maybe tend to get overlooked. Meanwhile, throughout these deep breaths, allow the structure of the body to relax. So if you notice that you're holding tension, common places might be around the shoulders or in the jaw, the muscles of the forehead. Let all of that go. And use this sense of melting down, of releasing downward, bringing it through the entire body, and hopefully throughout the entire practice. With your next inhale, you can keep the eyes closed. Bring your hands to meet in front of the heart, prayer pose. Thumbs can rest right against the chest, on the sternum. So you might even feel the heart beating behind the thumbs. These internal metronomes that can keep you focused, keep your mind calm yet present. With your next inhale, interlacing the fingers. Press the heels of the hands out away from the chest. You can start to open the eyes. So really opening up through the wrists, the palms of the hands. Keep the shoulders heavy and soft. Big breath in. Fill the lungs with bright light, with positivity, with air as the arms lift overhead. As you exhale, taking a little tip up and over to the left side, just ever so slightly. And in through center. Over to the right side, in through center. As you exhale, release the fingertips, diving yourself forward for a big bow. Hands land on the mat in front of you, and let the head really hang forward. So regardless of how far forward you're bending here, really allow the weight of the head to complement this action. Deep breath in, fill those lungs completely, conscious breath. Aware of the fact that you're breathing, letting go of any particular thoughts to really turn your focus to the inhale and the exhale. Next inhale, take your hands for a walk back up to sit. We'll uncross the legs, bringing the hands just behind the pelvis. Step 2 feet into the mat, and with your weight slightly back behind you, just let the knees rock side to side. Taking any tension out of the hips. We were seated for a few minutes there. So getting the blood flowing. Coming through an altar pose. Plant both feet into the floor. Fingers face the pelvis. Inhale, float the hips high. Either chin to the chest or head falls back. Big breath in through the nose. Let it out with an open mouth. Exhale, gently lower the pelvis, drawing the chin to the chest. We'll come to a boat pose or a variation of a boat pose, holding on underneath your knees, sitting up nice and tall on the sits bones. Feel free to stay here, or you can lift the shins until they're parallel to the floor. If there's another variation of boat pose that's in your practice, you can find it now. Inhale through the nose. As you exhale, we're going to come again to a cross-legged position, this time bringing the other foot in front. So the one that doesn't naturally want to go there. Inhaling, hands to the heart once again. Interlacing the fingers. Exhale, same as before, press the hands out in front of you. Inhaling, arms reaching high overhead. As you exhale, we'll twist to face the right side. So the belly button faces the right knee. Keep the palms pressing up to the sky. Inhale through center. Exhale, twisting to the left side. So this is really an action from the waist, twisting up through the crown of the head, back through center. Exhale, twisting right. This time, release the fingers. You can cross that left hand over the right knee. If it's okay for the neck, you can even look back over your right shoulder. Inhaling, arms through center, overhead. Exhale, twisting to the left. Arms releasing downward. Deep breath in, coming through center, arms are high. As you exhale, hands come to meet the heart. This time, resting one hand right on the heart, other hand over it. 2 or 3 breaths here to feel the rise and the fall that's naturally happening with the breath. With your next exhale, finding your way forward onto hands and knees. However you'd like to get there. We'll meet in a tabletop position. Knees are nice and wide, about hip distance apart. And same goes with wrists just underneath shoulders. Back of the neck is long. So rather than looking out in front of you and crunching the back of the neck, really pick a point on your mat or on the floor out in front of you and feel that length that continues up through the crown of the head. Full breath in, finding cow pose. Head and tail now lift up toward the sky. Exhale, round the spine, cat pose. Inhaling, head and tail lift. Lots of juicy mobility in the spine. The deeper that your breaths are, the more activity you'll be able to find within each breath. Inhale, coming back to a neutral spine. Sending the right leg back behind you. Floating that right leg until it's about parallel to the floor. And then really spiral your big toe to point directly down. So the outer edge of the thigh is rolling downward. The inner side of the thigh is rolling upward. Option to stay here, just where you are. Or you can free that left arm, finding a balance. Keep the back of the neck long, keeping your gaze out in front of you. Deep breath in. As you exhale, left hand finds the floor. Right knee in toward the nose as if you're coming to a cat pose with your back. Knee to the nose, head to the knee. Inhale, extend that right leg behind you. Twice more, exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, extend. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, extend. And exhale, lower that knee to the mat. Coming to the second side. Left leg extends behind you and floats away from the mat. Big toe spiraling downward. Again, outer thigh spiraling down, inner thigh up toward the sky. Option to stay or to free that right arm. Keep breathing. Use those full breaths. Use the consciousness of the breaths. Exhale, right hand lowers 3 times. Bend the knee. Draw it into the nose. Cat back. Inhale, extend to that long flat back. Gaze slightly out in front of you and on the floor. Exhaling, rolling in. Inhale, extending. Last time, use your breath. Empty the lungs. Filling the lungs. Left leg stays long, foot to the floor. Right foot joins in a plank pose. Inhaling. Exhaling, feel free to lower the knees. Inhale. Exhale, last breath wherever you are. And everybody lower the knees to the floor, toes point. Nice and slow, lowering onto the belly. Hands beneath shoulders. Inhale, lifting the heart. Bhujangasana, cobra. Exhale, release. A little rock with the hips. Forehead right on the mat. Softening the low legs, the low back. Once again, press into the feet. Lift the heart. Cobra pose. Exhale, release. Forehead to the mat. A little rock with your hips. Everything loosey-goosey from the waist down. One more time, bringing the tops of the feet actively into the mat. We'll step the hands a little wider and come up onto fingertips. Press down into the feet so much that your kneecaps lift away from the floor. Rooting down into the front of the pelvis, start to lift the heart. Maybe you come up a little higher. Use an exhale to lower. Hands beneath the shoulders, toes tucked, hips reach all the way back to meet your heels. So you're in a variation of your child's pose with your toes tucked under, resting your forehead on the mat, breathing deeply. Next, inhale, rocking your weight forward, lift the hips up and back, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Give the head a little shake when you arrive, and any of the little movements that you need to help you settle in to this down dog position. So it could be very different from day to day, from person to person, but again, encouraging you very much to listen to where you are, to meet yourself wherever that might be, so that you know your boundaries. Inhale, lifting both heels high. As you exhale, we're going to start pedaling through the feet. Right heel lowers toward the mat, left knee bends even deeper. Inhale, lift both heels. Exhale, switching sides. We'll stay with this action for a few rounds on each side. And as you're ready, inhale, both heels lift. Exhale, lower the right knee all the way down to the floor. Left leg stays long. Rolling that left heel down, gonna peel the left arm up to the sky. So you have your whole left foot flat on the floor. If that's not the case for you, really roll into the little toe side of your foot so you feel your whole footprint on the mat. Left arm reaching high. Exhale, look down, bring the hand down, finding your way back to your down dog. Inhale, lifting both heels high. Exhale, bend the left knee. Keep it bending, 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 bending until it finds the mat. Spiraling that right heel down. And then float the right arm high. Again, pressing into the entirety of that right foot. Little toe, big toe, and everything in between. Look down, hands come down. Find your way to that down dog. Deep breath in. Exhale, bend to the knees, look forward, slowly walk your feet to reach your hands. You're in your forward fold, bend the knees as much as you need. Maybe even deeper than you need to give yourself that little bit of a break, the little extra release, permission to work with your body in a soft way. Softening even further to begin a roll up to stand. Take your time to get there. As you arrive, fingertips are reaching down. Tadasana, mountain pose. Eyes can soften or even close for a few breaths. As you gather, your head over your heart over your pelvis. Notice your connection with the ground. Trust your connection with the ground as you inhale your arms overhead. Exhale, hands to the heart. Rather than a prayer pose, resting one hand directly over the heart and sealing the other hand on top. So your hands are resting on the body. Deep breath in to feel the rise of the heart, and exhale to feel it lower. Once again, inhaling out through the nose. Inhale, arms lift high overhead. Exhale over bent or straight legs as you dive forward. Inhale, coming to your long flat back, fingertips to the mat or hands to the shin bones, really long spine. Create space for your practice. Let the hands go. Take a big step back with the right foot. We're in a low lunge. Back leg nice and long. Inhale to a plank pose. Feel free at any point to lower the knees. Inhale here. Exhale, everyone lowers the knees, nice and slow, the chest. Inhale, scooping heart forward, cobra pose. And release, toes tuck, hips lift up and back, down dog. Deep breath in through the nose. And a full breath out. Toes are spread. Inhale, send the right leg up to the sky. Just as before, the big toe of the right foot points directly down to the floor. Outer thigh spiraling down. Inner thigh lifting up to the sky. Exhale, right foot steps forward between the hands, low lunge. Left foot joins, Uttanasana. Forward fold. Inhale, coming to stand. Exhale, hands to prayer pose. Thumbs plugging into the heart. Inhale, arms high. Exhale, diving forward. Ardha Uttanasana, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, release. Left foot steps far back to your low lunge. Let the hips drop low. Inhale, plank. On an exhale, lower, your choice, knees then chest or the whole body. Inhale, heart lift. Exhale, release. Hips lift up and back for your down dog. Inhale, left leg lift. Big toe spiraling down. Exhale, step it forward, low lunge. Right foot joins left foot, head hangs. Inhale to stand. Exhale. Hands to the heart. Deep breath in, arms reaching high. Exhale, diving forward. We keep the movement going as long as the breath is going. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release right foot back, staying in your low lunge. Gently lower the back knee to the floor. Stepping your hands right up onto that front thigh. You're going to use the hands, press them down and slightly forward. Almost like you're drawing the skin of your thigh forward toward your knee. Taking a little bit of pressure out of that left hip flexor. So it also causes the torso to maybe lift up. So you're not just dumping all the weight into the hips, but that you stay really active, conscious, and aware, while still staying soft with the body. With this same sense of lifting, we'll add the arms overhead. If it's comfortable for the neck, you can already start to lift your gaze up toward the sky. Exhale, hands find the floor. Back toes tuck. Back leg lengthen. Step into a plank pose. Inhale, exhale, lowering your choice. Knees and chest or the whole body. Inhale, heart lifts. Exhale, release. We meet in down dog. In through the nose. Out through the nose. Inhale, right leg lifts up and back. Exhale, stepping forward to your low lunge on the second side. Soften your back knee to the mat. Go ahead and point those back toes. Now use everything that is in contact with the mat. Identify the points that are touching the ground. Press down into those points, allowing everything else the freedom to lift up, to float. And then use your hands on that front thigh to draw the muscle, the skin, forward and gently down. With this sense of lift in the torso, adding the arms to fly high overhead. Exhale, hands down, back toes tucked. Step your way forward to the front of the mat. You're in your forward fold. Inhale, long, flat back. Exhale, release. Inhaling to stand, Urdhva Hastasana, arms are overhead. Exhale, hands to prayer pose. Deep breath in, arms lifting high. Exhale, diving forward. In through the nose, long, flat back. Exhale, big step back with your left foot. Back knee lowers once again, back toes point right away. Root down to rise up, arms are high. As you exhale, fingertips draw that same arc forward. Skip right past the floor, back toes tuck. Squeeze the inner thighs together as you push your left heel back away from you. We're in a low lunge. Once again, softly lower your back knee. Point the back toes, scoop the arms high. Exhale, draw this visible arc with your fingertips. See the line that you're creating. Back toes tuck. Reach the fingertips back toward your left heel as the back leg lengthens. Exhale, hands come down to the floor. Swivel your right foot to the outer edge of your mat. So now both hands are on the inside. You can stay with a long back leg or choose to lower that knee once again. For your variation of lizard pose, you may stay up on your hands just where you are. If it's comfortable, if you have the space today, you can lower your elbows down either onto a block or all the way down to the mat. We'll keep the head as part of the spine here. So the head is reaching out in the same line as your spine. Gaze is probably out somewhere around your thumbs, maybe slightly in front of your thumbs. Gradually walking your hands back to the mat. Swivel your right foot to the center of the mat. Back toes tuck. Back leg lengthens. Pouring your weight into your left hand to peel the right hand open for a twist. Again, identify what's in contact with the floor and then use all of these points to press down. The more grounded, the more rooted you are, the more space you have to float the upper body. Look down, hands down, plank pose. Moving through your vinyasa. Chaturanga is available if it's part of your practice, as well as upward facing dog. We meet in down dog. We'll take 3 breaths in down dog, deep, conscious breaths. Spiral the upper arms outward so the shoulders stabilize on the back. Inhale, left leg lift up to the sky, big toe pointing downward. Exhale, step it forward, low lunge. Back knee lowering to the mat, back toes point, root down to rise up. Knee down, crescent lunge. As you exhale, draw that same arc. Really see the line with your imagination. Back toes tuck. Press your right heel away from you. Stay nice and low with the pelvis. Softly, gently, with control, lower the back knee. Inhale, arms reach high. Gentle arc of the spine. Exhale, drawing the fingers forward, back toes tuck. Hands find their way down to the mat. We're in a low lunge. Swivel your left foot to the outer edge of the mat. Again, staying on a straight back leg or soften that knee to the floor. Option to stay up on your hands as you are, or to lower the elbows to the mat. And once again, keeping the head as an extension of the spine. You could almost think about that back leg as an extension of your spine as well. So you're really growing a long line in space. Hands find their way back to the mat. Swivel the left foot to the center of the mat. Back toes tuck. Back leg lengthens, pouring your weight into the right hand. Root down. Really think about roots. That word, that concept. Pressing down to stabilize you, to ground you as you float the left arm high. Staying aware in your practice. Thinking about what the body's doing. Feeling its actions. Left hand comes down, step forward to your forward fold. We'll stay hanging forward here for a few breaths. Let the knees bend. Maybe you even want to hang on to each elbow with the opposite hand. Encourage a little sway side to side. But truly, whatever feels good, whatever feels necessary here, let the hands go. Inhale up to stand, arms are overhead. Exhale, hands to the heart. Deep breath in, arms reaching high. Exhale, diving forward, Uttanasana. Exhale, next time, step your feet or hop your feet back to a plank pose, moving through your vinyasa variation. Listening to what you need, you can always skip the vinyasa and come right away to your down dog. Inhale, send the right leg up to the sky. Big toe pointing down. Very gently, we're going to let that right hip lift up so it stacks on top of the left. And then again, square off the hip. Big toe points down. Exhale, step forward between the hands, low lunge. Back heel spirals down to the floor. Arms cartwheel high to your warrior two. Turn around so I'm facing you. Right knee is bending. Your gaze is out over the right fingertips. With an inhale, straighten the front leg. Flip the right toes to face the side wall, looking up to the fingertips. Exhale, flip the right toes back, warrior two. We'll take this twice more. Press down. Right toes face the side wall. Arms are high, two legs straight. Exhale, warrior two. Use your breath to inform the action. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, flip the palms. Exhale, reverse your warrior. Inhale through warrior two. Cartwheel the hands all the way down to the floor, low lunge. Pressing into all 10 fingers, send your right leg up and back. We're in a one leg down dog. Exhale, right knee forward between the hands, again in a low lunge. Swivel the left foot, or drag the left knee rather, in behind your right knee. We come to sit. So the legs are crossed. Right leg is crossed over left leg. Both knees can be bent. If that's challenging for you, you can go ahead and extend your left leg, the bottom leg straight. Sitting up nice and tall, inhaling arms high. As you exhale, we're going to take a bow forward. Hands can come wide on either side of the mat. The belly might rest against your right thigh. It might not quite make it. That's fine. Wherever you are, let the head curve forward. Ideally, you have even weight on right sits bone and left sits bone. Heavy head. Inhale, rolling up through the spine. Uncross the legs, bring the hands back behind you. It's an altar pose. Inhale, lift the hips, either chin to your chest or head back. Deep breath in through the nose. Let it out with an open mouth. Sitting the hips down to the floor. Crossing the ankles, diving forward onto hands and knees, or getting to hands and knees however you like. Toes tuck, hips lift up and back to your down dog. With an inhale, float the left leg high. First, keeping the hip nice and square.
I'll turn around again, but you can stay just where you are. And now let the hip open up. Left hip on top of right hip. So you feel that little bit of freedom. Maybe it feels really good to lift that leg. And then once again, square the hip so the big toe points down. You feel the difference in the pelvis between the two positions. Exhale, stepping forward, low lunge. Back heel finds the mat. Warrior two on the second side. Looking over left fingertips, inhale through the nose. The whole right foot, back foot that is in contact with the floor. Flying this warrior high, inhale, flip the left toes to face the wall, looking up to the fingertips. Flip the left toes back to the top of the mat. Virabhadrasana 2. Inhale, straighten both legs, feet are parallel. Exhale, warrior 2. Last time, inhaling. And exhaling. Inhale, flip the palms high. Exhale, reverse your warrior. Inhaling. Exhale all the way down. Low lunge. Press into 10 fingers. Send your left leg up and back. Big toe pointing down. Exhale, left foot steps forward, low lunge. You're going to draw the right knee in behind the left knee and seat yourself with the left leg crossed over the right leg. Inhaling, arms high overhead. Sitting up nice and tall. Exhale, diving the chest forward. Fingertips are wide. Let the head hang. Again, even weight on both halves of the pelvis. So for some, you might find that you're rocking a little toward the right, favoring the right side of the pelvis here. See if you can drop weight into your left sits bone. Inhale, rolling up through the spine. Again, altar pose. Uncross the legs. Press into 10 fingers, 10 toes, hips lift. Breath in through the nose, let it out with an open mouth. Sitting the hips down, moving through your variation of Navasana, boat pose. Really high on your sits bones. Feel free to keep your knees down, or your feet rather, or lift the lower legs. Options are to extend the arms forward, or even to extend the legs long. Deep breath in wherever you are. Engage the abdominals. Draw the belly button to the spine. With your next big exhale, rolling back to Halasana, plow pose. Feet come to find the mat behind you. You can leave your hands on your pelvis for support or on the ground. Deep breath in, full breath out. One more breath wherever you are, and then rolling forward, cross your ankles, making your way onto hands and knees. Staying here on hands and knees, we'll take a few rounds of cat and cow. So similar to where we started the practice, hopefully you feel a little more warmth in the body, maybe a little more mobility in the spine than where we started. And as you're ready, toes tuck, hips float up and back to downward facing dog. Deep breath in, a full breath out. Next inhale, heels lift, knees soften, look forward, step or hop your feet to reach your hands. Long flat back, inhale. As you exhale, head gets nice and heavy. We'll come up to stand through Utkatasana, chair pose. So the knees bend nice and deep, arms scoop overhead. Sitting the pelvis down and back, try rocking your weight a little more into your heels. You might even wiggle the toes away from the floor. Diving forward, coming to a flat back. You can have straight or bent legs. Scooping back up to your chair pose. Knees bend, arms are high. Exhale, come to stand, hands in front of the heart. Staying with eyes soft or even closed for 2 or 3 breaths. Being aware of how that breath is moving in the body. Being aware of what you're hanging on to, what thoughts are recurring, which thoughts you can't seem to shake, which sensations are the loudest, which sensations are the softest in the body. Inhale, gently opening the eyes. Arms are reaching high overhead. We're going to swivel the toes out a little wider so they come about as wide as your mat. And then fan your toes to face slightly out. Exhale, hands come to the heart. Once again, one hand resting on the heart, the other hand over the heart. Bending the knees quite deep. We sit in a goddess squat. Pelvis is lowering, knees are opening wide. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the nose. Coming back to stand, just for a moment, leave the feet where they are. Inhaling. As you exhale, we'll lower once again, this time all the way down to a squat. If you need your hands for stability or support, you can use them. Doesn't matter if the heels stay on the ground or not. As you arrive, hands in a prayer pose, elbows helping the knees open outward. If it's more comfortable, feel free to lower the chin toward the chest. Softening the gaze for a few deep breaths. Pelvic floor nice and wide, hands find the floor. Lifting the hips, head lower, swivel the feet back toward each other to find yourself in a forward fold. Inhaling here, as you exhale, bend the knees. The heels can leave the floor as soon as they want. Keep bending the knees until you come to a little crouch or a little ball with the head staying nice and heavy. If your feet are still quite wide, walk your heels and toes a little closer together, maybe even until they touch. We'll find a little balance here. So imagine a zipper that starts at your big toe and it zips all the way up the midline of the foot, all the way up the leg, into the pelvis. So the legs are really tightly woven together. Start to lift the chest. The knees will come forward until the thighs are more or less parallel to the ground. Hands can rest right on the tops of the legs. Ideally, you have a nice vertical spine here. So this requires some strength, but also some trust in your own balance, your own practice. Knowing that the floor is very close, so worst case scenario, you topple over and you're a few inches from the ground. Keep the inner thighs zipping together. You might start to feel a heat building up, maybe even shaking a little. Just keep breathing. Trusting that you know your limits. Trusting that you can handle sometimes more than you think you can. Listening to the breath. Softening any doubts in your mind. And when you're ready, hands find the ground very gently. Walk yourself back until the pelvis lands on the floor. We'll come to a Baddha Konasana pose, bound angle, where the soles of the feet are together in front of you. Hands on the ankles, or if you wish, the two first fingers of each hand wrapped around the big toes. Heels can be quite close or quite far away from the body. Sitting up nice and tall. As you exhale and the elbows bend, drawing the chest forward, the elbows bend out away from each other. Coming as far forward as you like, and then gradually letting the head join by hanging over the feet. So as the body starts to cool down in these more restful, restorative postures, the breath becomes even more important. This sort of introspection becomes almost inevitable. So just notice the patterns of your thoughts. Notice your tendencies, physically and mentally. You can just notice. You can just take this as an opportunity to witness, or you can take it as an opportunity to shift your awareness, to make a conscious choice about where you'd like to put your attention and intention in the thoughts, in the breath, in the body. How you'd like to translate what's happening on the mat to your experiences off of your yoga mat. As you're ready, rolling up through the spine, bringing your hands to the outsides of the knees and gently bring the knees to meet each other. Legs out long in front of you in Dandasana, staff pose. So you see that I'm kind of shifting the flesh away from the sits bones here so that I can really feel the sits bones. So you can give yourself a minute to really explore. If you really find those little bony triangles that you're sitting up on. For some with tight hamstrings or tight hip flexors, this pose will not be so easily accessible. Feel free to sit up on a block. My blocks are out of reach, but you know what a block is. Or you can stack up some books or sit on a cushion. Just by elevating the pelvis a little bit, there's not as much strain for the hamstrings here. Notice whether you're tipping backward off the pelvis. If you are, try bending the knees a little bit so that you can have this real deep crease in the hip flexors. With an inhale, arms float overhead. With an exhale, diving the heart forward. Keep the spine long for as long as you can. Hands find anywhere along the outsides of the legs, feet, ankles, and then you let the head hang forward. For a second, deep forward fold, Paschimottanasana here, with feet flexing actively. Giving plenty of time and space for the cool down today. There's power and strength in the ability to rest, in the ability to take care of yourself. Notice those areas where you tend to hold tension. Are you holding tension there now? Is it serving any particular purpose, or can you let it go? So as you start to settle and calm, it's not about becoming complacent or kind of checking out either. In fact, in these long holds, in these long forward folds, oftentimes if you check in after several breaths, you might notice that you actually have more space to explore. That as soon as you give yourself the opportunity to soften and to sort of step back, that you have more range than you thought you were capable of. Gradually rolling up to sit. Really take your time to avoid any dizziness or shocking the body. Hands on either side of the hips. Scoot yourself forward to the top of your mat. And rolling onto the back, nice and slow. We'll take a few rounds of back bend. So I'll talk you through 2 rounds and 2 options, but of course, you know yourself, you probably have some yoga experience behind you, so feel free to explore the back bends that work for you as I take fuzz out of my eyeball. Palms of the hands are facing down, feet are about hip distance apart. And notice already that your knees, your hips, are parallel to each other. So ideally the knees aren't fanning outward and they're also not knocking in to touch, but they really have these kind of train tracks, parallel legs. Throughout your back bend practice, regardless of the back bend you're choosing, the legs will stay in this parallel position. Slide the shoulder blades gently toward each other so that you kind of scoot the shoulder blades underneath your body, and then press down into hands and feet, lifting the pelvis for a bridge pose. Step 1 of our back bend practice, pressing into the big toe of each foot, and then keep those legs parallel. You probably can't see the legs here, but you'll feel a little bit of engagement on the inner thighs. Not so much that the knees touch, but if they get really loose and you let go of that inner thigh, the knees will start fanning out, falling out of that parallel position. Keeping the breath moving, even deepening here. And then slowly rolling down. We'll come to just a short sacrum release between back bends. Widen your feet about as wide as your mat. Let the knees fall in. And then with this posture, it's really about release. So the palms can flip up to the sky. The pelvis is getting heavy, dropping down, widening. You can let the eyes soften. The breath deepens. We'll prepare for our second back bend. So again, swivel the feet until they're aligned with the hips or the sits bones. Legs stay parallel. Second round of back bend can either be another bridge pose or coming to a full wheel, which I'll talk you into. Slide the shoulder blades together. Press down into hands and feet. I'm not going to demonstrate the wheel, but I'll talk you through it. As the hips lift, hands come on either side of the ears. Find your whole hand, all 10 fingers, and ideally the heel of the hand on the floor. Then press down and rise up to your full wheel. If you're still in your bridge pose, think about those legs being parallel. And in fact, in either pose, think about that parallel position of the thighs and knees. Keeping the breath moving. When you're ready to come down, slowly reversing the pattern that brought you into your back bend. Once again, a sacrum release. Either the same as before, feet wide, knees together, or the opposite. Bring the soles of your feet together and let your knees come wide in the Supta Baddha Konasana. Let the hands rest here wherever they feel most comfortable. Active breaths, an active sense of release, permission to let go. As you're ready, gently help your knees together and in toward your chest. Coming to a little ball. The ball can rock or roll or shift or swing or stay still. Gently lowering just the left foot to the floor. Keep that right knee hugging in toward your chest, sinking your right femur bone, your thigh bone, in as close to your belly as you can. Flexing the right foot, press the right heel up toward the sky. You can change the grip so you're holding on behind the leg. The leg does not have to straighten. Two shoulders, two halves of the pelvis are on the floor. As that leg is lengthening, as you exhale, cross the right thigh over the left thigh, bend that right knee, and then hug both knees into the chest. So you're in a cross-leg position with the knees hugging in. Feel the width of the pelvis, the sacrum. Inhaling, the arms open up to a T shape. Palms are facing the sky. As you exhale, both knees fall to the left side across the body. If, as you arrive, this feels too intense, you can uncross the knees, just stacking the right knee on top of the left. And then looking out over the right fingertips. Deep and full breaths. As you're ready, inhale, knees come back through center. If the knees are crossed, you can uncross them. The right foot lowers toward the mat, hugging the left knee into the chest. Then really get heavy in that left femur bone, the longest bone in the human body. So you can imagine there's quite a bit of weight, quite a bit of heft to that femur bone. Let it fall with gravity. And then flex that left foot to begin pressing your heel. So rather than thinking about locking or straightening the leg even, really think about the heel pressing up, lifting up, kicking the ceiling away, holding on behind that left leg. Head is nice and heavy into the floor. Exhale, cross the left leg really over the right leg. And then let the knee bend. So you have a cross high up on your thighs. Hug both knees into the chest. You can use your hands on your knees. And now it's these two femur bones getting really heavy in the hip socket. Inhale, the arms open to a T shape. Palms are high. Exhale, knees fall to the right side. Feel free to uncross the legs if it feels a bit much. And then looking out over the left fingertips. When you're ready, floating both knees in through center. Any last little rocking and rolling in this ball. that feels good, mobilizing the pelvis and the low back. We'll find a happy baby. Legs are lifting up toward the sky. Feet are flexing. Imagine you leave your footprint on the ceiling, reaching around for the outer edges of the ankles or feet as the knees fall open away from each other. Wide pelvic floor. Feel free to rock this baby side to side or keep it still. And when you're ready, coming back through center, knees hug into the chest. If you need a few more minutes or any last actions, you can pause the video and take a few minutes for yourself. If you're ready to come to corpse pose, to your Shavasana, lengthening legs out long. Palms of the hands flip up to the sky. Feel free to take any extra padding or clothing that helps you get nice and comfortable and feel really safe. I think this is an important part of your Shavasana, that you feel comfortable, protected, warm, so that you have complete permission to surrender. You can stay focused on the breath for the first few rounds of breath, especially if the mind feels a little bit overactive or a little lost. And gradually, over the course of several breaths, see if you can even release the focus of your breath, aiming for this completely clear mind without having to consider or to worry or to plan. Letting the weight of your body melt into the floor. I'll leave you here. Please feel free to stay as long as you can or as you'd like in Shavasana. And I hope to see you again next week. Thank you.